It is a fact, however, that competitive athletics tend to destroy all that is natural in women and all that make them attractive to men.
Well, we were supposed to be married in the house and take care of children, and it wasn't a norm to have a woman out on the golf course.
Remarkable that those women got that off the ground.
There's a light in my life shining over me.
Y'all better hurry, because there's only 4 of us left. Yeah, out of 13.
In my life shining over me.
We were a group like a carnival. We went from town to town to town. We did the whole thing ourselves.
We didn't anticipate that what would happen has happened.
This is really something, Don. Not only are they look like athletes, and yet they're beautiful.
People didn't like athletic women.
Here we are, a slice from left to right, putting the visor in slicing position. You can see how important the visor is.
All right.
The obstacles that they overcame, they were really, truly pioneers.
If you told me I could do something, I'll show you I can do it.
Nobody gets there on their own. You know, it's always those who have set a standard, who have made the sacrifices.
You know, it's the first time that I've ever been up there with the big boys.
All of us draw strength from, if we think about it, from what those women did. We have to have the greatest respect for people who have laid the groundwork for others to follow it.
Let your blessing from above fill me with that precious love.
I'm just an ordinary person, lived an ordinary life.
So I want to introduce you to Shirley Spork. She's 89 years old.
And she's one of the stars of the Founders film, which you just saw a bit of.
So do you think some of it has to just come from inside?
Oh, yeah, right.
Like,
something comes from within you yourself that, wow, I'm going to try that. Maybe it's too risky. Oh, wow, what? Well, maybe if I try it this way. No, let's try it that way. So you start small and you grow. And you grow by feeding it, just like a little plant. You plant it and you feed it. If you don't feed it, it doesn't succeed.
Shirley and the 13 women who founded the Ladies Professional Golf Association way back in 1951, they did the impossible. They did what everyone was telling them could not be done, and they risked everything to do it. Shirley would tell us about the first job she got at a golf club, and she was so excited. She showed up and realized there pretty much was no golf club. She had to do everything herself. She had to do all the financials. She had to make the golf course. She built a clubhouse with her own 2 hands, you know? And she had to do it alone, and that's something that I can relate to. You know, as a young little girl of 5 and 6, I had that innocence that we all had back then, right? Remember that feeling like, I just remember believing anything was possible. I would go get this white sheet, and I'd hang it from this big hedge in our backyard, and I'd put on these long plays. You know, I'd get like the dog and my dolls and the mailman to come act, and I'd boss everybody around, and then I'd go sneak downstairs to the living room at night, and I'd watch movies from dusk till dawn, and I would remember every shot, every line, because I loved that make-believe world. I loved those stories, and I knew that that's what I was born to do, and I totally believed that I could do it. And then that moment came. We all have those moments, right, where those beliefs sort of crash down. I was about 7, and my dad, who I just thought of the most magical, creative being I knew, ended up going to prison. And we lost our house. We lost our neighbors, our community. We lost everything. my mom, who had her own talents, her own gifts and dreams, she had to work nights and weekends to take care of us 4 kids, and she really couldn't be with us like I know she dreamed that she would be able to be. Not only that, but I was looking into a film industry where people were telling me this industry is made up of 99% white males. No female has ever won an Oscar for Best Director. I would tell women, I want to grow up and be a writer or director, and they would just openly laugh in my face or bitterly roll their eyes because they had just seen such hard knocks. So I did what I called going through the back door. I just said, all right, well, I'm going to do this on my own then. I'm going to make my little short films. I'd save up some money. I'd get friends. I'd train them how to do everything. I'd make a short film, and then it'd have some success. I'd go to a festival, and I kept doing that for years, and it was okay. But I knew I could be more. I knew I was too afraid to risk everything so I could jump and be in that success and that aliveness and be that storyteller I always was meant to be. And then I got pregnant. I had a little daughter. I knew that I wanted to give her what my mom couldn't. I wanted to be with her as much as I could, so she had that. And it was when she was about 4 months old, and she had been sick for 3 or 4 days, and it was in the middle of the night, and I was tired, exhausted. I hadn't brushed my teeth or my hair. I had throw up on me, and it's just one of those lonely, lonely moments. And you know the feeling, right? If you had kids or animals, you've been thrown up on before. Anyway, she was in my lap, and I remember she kind of looked up at me, and she got those eyes. She has these huge eyes, and she got that big smile. And I saw in her eyes that innocence I once had. I saw myself as a little girl in front of that white sheet. And I knew at that moment that, yes, she needed me to be there for her. Yes, I could do that. But she needed something else. I needed to get that innocence, that belief that anything was possible back. I needed to jump into that to become the best, most badass woman I could be for myself, and also to show her that she could believe in the impossible and she can do it. Because if I don't give that to myself, and I don't give that to her, who's going to?
I feel like I was in a similar place as Carrie. I was working in the industry, and I was in a technical field and probably the only woman I knew in that field. And I was underpaid and underappreciated. I was working for networks. I was watching the men around me soar as I lifted everyone else up. I was telling other people's stories for them, and I just was constantly complaining about wanting to tell my own story. I just didn't see my story out there. I wasn't hearing it, and I wasn't creating it. And I was complaining to my mom one day, and she said, well, why don't you go find your story? And I thought, gosh, that seems so simple. But why does it feel so hard? It was probably the same moment that Carrie had. So I did what most people do when they're in this moment of inspiration, and I quit my job, and I started looking for my story. I started freelancing and trying to find out where my story was, and I had no idea that I would find it in a group of 80-year-old golfers. I thought, certainly not here. And after I decided to do the film, it took off. I was like, all right, yeah, I believe in these women. These women are exactly who I am, and I'm going to make this story. And then it was obstacle after obstacle. And so as I was talking to all my friends, they slowly but surely started to join me on this quest. So Dana and Mo and Maggie and Layla, all these friends around me started to kind of work nights and weekends with me. And we slowly but surely started to gain some momentum. But there were 2 things that kept coming up. One, people would say, I can't believe no one's told this story. Why do I not know about these women who started the longest-running women's sports organization in the United States? And 2, why the heck would I want to hear about these women who started this sporting organization 50 years ago? And overwhelmingly, I got bogged down in that. All the naysayers, I slowed down. I was complaining about being too tired one day, and my mom said, you think you're tired? These women are 80 years old. If you don't tell this story, they may be gone by the time you're done with it. So I got back up on that horse, and I started just working like crazy, pouring all my money into the film and doing everything I could to get it off the ground. And of course, life they'll throw you obstacles. And I got up one morning and I went and jumped in the shower. And as I was in the shower, I looked down and I noticed I had all this hair in my hands. And I was like, what's going on? And over the next couple weeks, slowly but surely, all my hair started falling out. And within 3 months, I had no hair anywhere on my body. I watched myself go through this transformation that was incredibly difficult. So I ended up at the Mayo Clinic in Florida, where they told me that I have kind of a rare autoimmune condition that can be triggered called alopecia. As I sat there in my room, I was looking in the mirror at someone I didn't recognize. I thought, who is this person? That's when the call came. And it was another hospital, and they said, your mom's here. And I said, oh man, she hasn't been feeling well. So I spent the next 3 months watching her wither away. And I was so confused. I thought, how could this be happening? And I sat with my mom as she passed away. And I thought, here I was challenging life and like giving it all I had. And life was like, I'm gonna challenge you back. Like, here it is, all of it. And I was angry and I was confused, and all at once I was like, I'm gonna make this damn movie. Done. Thank you. I'm over it. And so there was one filmmaker in the area that I admired, and I thought, God, if I can get her on board, then I can make this film. And so I called Carrie, and I thought, I'm not going to take no for an answer. And I said to her, Carrie, I've got this amazing film. Will you please help me make it?
No. No way.
Why
it
not?
Sounds totally boring. Who is going to sit and watch a 90-minute film about golf? I don't want to see that. But then I thought about it. I thought about that moment I had had with Ozzy and then my daughter, and then I thought about Charlie, and I thought, she's doing what I want to do. She is in the same place. We both are going to do this until we die. Even if we fail every time, we're going to do what makes us feel most alive. And then I started to see some of this footage of these women, and I was like, oh my God. These women not only carved out a place for themselves, they not only carved out a place for women's golf and women athletes, they carved out a place for all of us, all women to come, for us. And here Charlie and I are, 70 years later, and we have more privilege than they had then, that's no doubt. But we, in this film industry, we face the same odds now as they did back then. So I realized it was that moment that I was like, I have to tell this story. I would be honored to tell this story, because maybe if we can join forces and together do it, I stop doing it alone, but join forces with someone else who has these beliefs, just like the founders did, we could push this over the edge so it could go out and help inspire people to be more than, to leap into their own aliveness.
Again, here's Shirley Spork.
In our world, you can't do it alone. You can't do it and just say, here I am, you have to gather in others' friendship, knowledge, beliefs, and then you continue to grow. You can't just say, well, I did this and that's great, and I don't care what you do. You have to believe in others and encourage others to succeed and try to succeed.
Yeah.
Shirley.
Shirley. I love Shirley. That woman is magical to be around. So we joined forces, and we finished the film. the Founders film. And then, thanks. With a lot of help from a lot of other amazing women and people. But then we formed, I just want to make sure they know.
They were meant to.
But then we created our production company, Mighty Fine Pictures. Yeah, that's really big. That's real big. I mean, it's a women-run and owned and employed production company. That's a really huge thing. So, but we're still in a society that's riddled with sexism, racism, and misogyny. It's not easy. Every time we try and go out there with crews and with people, it's just not easy.
I think about times when I show up on set and I'm directing and they'll be like, oh, costume department's in the back, you know, or my friend Angela, this pal of ours, she's just such an amazing African-American female director, and she shows up on set and they're like, oh, are you the backup dancers? Yeah, go around to the truck. You know, it's those kind of experiences. Or some of the worst comes from other women who are just so afraid that there's not enough resources, that they try to tear other women down to just fight for that one job that 500 of us are going towards, you know? But making decisions out of that fear, it never leads to good things. That's the opposite of being alive. Judy Robinette says, take counsel from your courage, not your fear. And I know that we all hear those messages, but we do that. When one of us gets afraid, we look at each other and we're like, we're doing that. Let's get out of this. We put pictures of badass women all over our office. We make cheesy vision boards. We do mission statements, right? We do whatever it takes to keep reminding ourselves that we can do this, that we are doing this.
And I would say, like, right now, this year, we're in a unique time because last year at the Oscars, when the Academy pretty much alienated all African Americans and minorities, which, I mean, even the director of Selma was overlooked for Best Director. It's like, what? Hollywood kind of went, whoa, we need to do something. It kind of shook it up a little bit. And so now I hear from my male directors, you know, I couldn't get a job because they're hiring only female for this one thing. And I thought, what? Yes. Thank you. So, I mean, I think times are changing, and that's what we have always believed in, hiring women, training women, and our mission is creating stories like we always wanted to, for us, by us, and about other minorities and women. So, but...
Well, you know, we insist on our crews then that we try to hire all females in positions of power, right? So do we get flack for that? Oh, yeah. I mean, you can imagine what people say. Mostly they say, well, you should just be hiring the best person for the job. Well, you know what we believe? We're going to make it so that the woman is the best person for the job.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're all still building this clubhouse, and we are not going to stop.
It's like if you believe in something and you keep getting knocked down, if you fall down, you get up, and you fall down, and you get up, and you keep blowing your horn. And eventually you blow it loud enough and enough times, they finally listen to you. I'm not satisfied in just staying on the level. I want to keep growing. I want to keep going. I don't want to fossilate. My body can fossilate, but not my brain. My brain's still going. Well, you can do this. Come on now, you just show me. You can do it. Gotta get going. We gotta go play. We gotta go play golf now. Bye.
Shirley. Yeah. Yeah, Shirley. So I actually played golf with her after that. She's 89. I kind of want to play a game right now with you sitting here. I want to know, sitting here right now, how alive you all are. So, like, think about it for a minute. Alive meaning, like, in your skin, all your pores are open. That feeling that you get, that's like you're vulnerable, you're excited, you're scared, you're all of it, like alive. How alive are you?
Shut your eyes. Just do it. I know it feels so weird, right? But just shut your eyes for a second with us. Just shut them for a minute. My friend Jeff Searage did this with me once. But I want you to imagine that over your heart, on your chest, you have this aliveness meter, okay? And on one side of it is the number 1. And 1 is like dead, depressed, blah. And over on the other side is 10. And 10 is the most alive you've ever felt, like you're risking and growing everything. You're the most present you possibly can be. Not necessarily good and bad, but just fully, fully alive. Okay, you can open your eyes now. So, what we want you to do is for the next week, go out there and think of this meter. Every day, make a mental note of where you are on this meter. Get other women to do it. Get your friends and family members to do it. And at the end of the week, take an average. And if you are at a 7 or below, you need to change your life. Because as Howard Thurman said, what the world needs is people who have come alive. So go out and find what makes you feel alive and do it.